Welcome to another in our series of People, Places, and Things of the Bible. Our topic for today is tips for strengthening the marriage. And our passage is found in Ephesians chapter 5, verses 32 and 33. This mystery is profound, and I'm saying that it refers to Christ and the church. However, let each one of you love his wife as himself, and let the wife see that she respects her husband. What would happen if we applied the same rules that are given for everyday living in the Bible to our marriages? Think of how different things might be. Consider these. Make time for small talk. Take just 20 minutes a day to talk about little things. Don't always make it serious. Proverbs 17:14 tells us, "The beginning of strife is like letting out water. So abandon the quarrel before it breaks out." Our second is pay attention. Let your spouse know that what they think, feel, and believe is important. Ephesians 5:28 tells us, "So husbands ought to love their own wives as their own bodies. He who loves his own wife loves himself." Our next tip, be positive. See the best in each other. Don't assume the worst. Believe the best. Let your language reflect a positive approach to solving problems. Proverbs 17:22 tells us, "A joyful heart is good medicine, but a broken spirit dries up the bone." Our next tip, you don't always have to be right. This doesn't mean you can't have a strong opinion about something, but having to be right all the time can be a major roadblock in relationships. Learn to give in matters of opinion. Philippians 2:3, Paul writes, "Do nothing from selfishness or empty conceit, but with humility of mind, let each of you regard one another as more important than himself." Next, don't keep bringing up the past. Learning to forgive is perhaps one of the hardest things we will learn to do in life. We may think the hurt will never go away, but it is a choice to forgive. Let God work in your life. In time, we will all learn to forgive. And don't confuse forgiving with forgetting. And don't let bitterness overcome your marriage. 1 Peter 3:9 tells us, "Not returning evil for evil, nor insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead. For you were called for the very purpose that you might inherit a blessing." Next, don't be so critical of your spouse. Therapists have outlined 5 key areas of criticism that contribute to trouble between husband and wife. Criticizing behaviors, criticizing feelings, criticizing character, making accusatory interpretations, and criticizing intentions. We will do well to check our criticizing of each other before it comes out. We will almost always become defensive when we are criticized. Ephesians 4:29 tells us, "Let no unwholesome word proceed from your mouth, but only such a word as is good for edification, according to the need of the moment, that it may give grace to those who hear." Paul writes to the Colossians in Colossians 3:8 through 10, "But now you also put them all aside, anger, wrath, malice, slander, and abusive speech from your mouth. Do not lie to one another, since you laid aside the old self with its evil practices, and put on the new self, who is being renewed to a true knowledge according to the image of the one who created him." And finally, Peter tells us in 1 Peter chapter 2 and verse 1, "Therefore, putting aside all malice and all guile and hypocrisy and envy and all slander." Try using these tips in your marriage and strengthening the family. And Lord willing, let's meet here again tomorrow and look at more people, places, and things in the Bible.